and I'm one of the teachers in CapacityBay.org. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do a loader that loads before the actual page is being rendered. Okay, you might be imagining I'm going to different sites. Okay, they have something loading before the main actual page is being rendered. So that's what we're going to do today. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so I actually have on my VS Code, I have a template I created. Okay, something we're going to use, a form. Let me render this. Go open with live server so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Now I have a form, but I want to add a loader that load before this form is displayed whenever the page is loading. All right, so I have a wrapper div here, a div with a class of wrapper, and it's the div that is having this background color here. So I want to actually, let's go to my CSS. Okay, so I have my stylings here. Let's dive right into creating our loader. So HTML creates a loader container. I'll call it loader con. Right, it's a div, the class of loader con, so it's going to actually contain my loader. All right, so I will have another div with the class of loader, which is the loader itself. Now I'll dive right into my CSS. Okay, so I'll call my loader container. Okay, loader con, and then I'll give it a width of 100%, the height of 100 viewport height. Right, then I'll give it a background color of black. Okay, and you can see we're actually having a scroll bar over here. Okay, so why is this scroll bar showing? Why are we having this scroll bar? Now our loader container is having 100 viewport height, and our wrapper container is also having 100 viewport height. So they are actually taking the height of its current viewport. All right, now going over to our HTML, we'll notice that our loader container is a sibling element to our wrapper container. So they're actually siblings. Okay, so that's why they are stacking on each other. But we don't actually want that. We want our loader container to be above our form, which is our wrapper container. Okay, so I'll go back to my CSS and I'll add a position of absolute. Okay, now we notice that we no longer have a scroll bar. Why? Because our loader container is now positioned absolute to its parent container, which is the body. Okay, now I will style the loader. Let me first call my loader container and get to my actual loader. Okay, now I've given this a width of 100 pixel, a height of 100 pixel also, and then I'll give it a background color of red. Now notice you should always give your container a background color, okay, so you can actually see what you're styling. It's recommended always. You can actually see what you're styling, because there are some cases whereby you'll be styling a particular div and you don't know what is actually malfunctioning because you don't know how it looks. So give it a background color, and then you can actually see what you're styling and position them in the appropriate place. Okay, so with this, I'm going to give it a position of absolute also, a position of absolute, and then a top of 0. I want the top, from the top, okay, to that particular loader should have a 0 pixel. All right, and then I'll give a left of 0 also, a right of 0, and then a bottom of 0. Now this is not actually position center, but my main aim, I want to actually position it to the middle of this particular container, which is our loader con. Okay, now I want to use a CSS property called margin. Now, margin is so powerful that you can actually use it to center your elements using a automatic margin. So if I give it a margin of automatic for all the sides, notice that my div is now centered to the middle of my page. Now, down, I'll give it a border of 15 pixel solid. Let's give it a white border. We're going to actually change this letter. Okay, so it now has a white border. All right, now we want to give it a border top color. All right, now our border top color should be, let's give it white, and then let's change this to gray. Okay, so it actually looks this way. Now we can take off the background color. We don't really need it anymore. Okay, so this is how our loader looks like, but we want to actually give it a border radius also, because we don't want a loader that is going to be loading in a square form. I want to give it a border radius so it's be loading in circular form. So I'll give it a border radius of 50%. Okay, you can see it's now circular form. Okay, now what next? We want our loader to actually be loading infinitely. Okay, so we'll add an animation. Okay, animation, and I'll give our animation a name. So I'll call it spin. Okay, and then I want it to spin 0.8 seconds. All right, and linear, I want it to spin in linear form. Okay, so linear and infinite, I want it to continue to spin non-stop, so I'll give it infinite. Okay, non-stop, and I'll create what we call keyframes. Okay, now when you're working with animations, you actually effect your animations using keyframes. So before we do that, we do use our @ symbol, @ keyframe. All right, now we have the name of our animation, which is spin. We actually created an animation name called spin. Okay, I copy that and paste. Okay, so I have an animation name called spin. Then I want to run this in this particular block of code. Okay, now that's what we call, when you're working with your keyframes. Okay, we have from and to. Okay, and we also have from 0%. If you want to actually create some breakpoints, you want some things to change in different breakpoints, so you can use the percentage. Okay, you can say 0%. All right, so let's just say I said 0%. I want this particular code to run. 50%. I want this particular code to run. All right, for this particular loader. Everything is going to work for this loader because this loader has the animation name of spin. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. Now I'm going to use to, because I want this to actually rotate 30°. Okay, 30°. Now I can actually use 100% or to. Okay, I don't want to rotate from, I want to see the end part of it. So I'll use to, or I can use 100%. Okay, with my block of code. Now I'll give it a transform. Okay, transform rotate of 360°. Okay, now you can see our form loader, our form is actually rotating. Okay, we're going to add a transition to our loader count. So let's just add a transition of all the 0.5 seconds is in out, or let's just leave it is in. Okay, now with this we have actually gotten our loader. Now it's time to dive right to our CSS. Sorry, HTML. Now I will be going to my CSS HTML, and I want to actually grab a particular container, and the container I want to grab is the loader container, because that is actually what we want to change. So the loader container, okay, I will call it my JavaScript. Use the document of query selector. So let me first create a variable. I'll use the constant variable. Okay, const. I'll call it loader, right? And then I'll assign a document of query selector. I want to actually grab that selector. So my loader container. All right. Now this is my variable. So I'll go and I want to create a function. Okay, windows.unload function. Now I'll call my window, and then I want to add event listener to it. So window.add event listener. Event listener is a JavaScript method. Okay, now I want to pass in my load. Okay, my load method with a function. Okay, now my function, okay, I want to actually create a timeout. Okay, so I say this, because I'm targeting the window, so I say this dot timeout, set timeout. Okay, so now set timeout is a CSS method that has two parameters. Okay, now it has the timer handler and then the timeout. Okay, so before that I want to actually create another function. Okay, so I'll call it function. Okay, and I'll call it my my load. Okay, and then I'll give it some values. Now I want to actually call my loader over here. Loader dot, what do I want to actually do to my loader? I want it to be displayed none. Okay, I want it to be displayed none when it gets to a particular time limit. So I'll say loader dot style, okay, dot, not that, dot display equal to none. Okay, so I have not actually called this function. Now I'm going to call this function inside this set timeout. Okay, this is our set timeout format. Okay, and I'm going to call the function. So I'll call it, and I'll say my load. All right, and then I'll set the amount of time I want to actually stop this. Okay, so I want it to actually take effect in 3 seconds. Now 3 seconds written in JavaScript is 3000. So let's watch that. Load, and then it displays our web page. So this is come to the end of today's class. We have actually achieved what we want to achieve. So it has loaded. Okay, I'll zoom this and refresh the page. So our page is loading, and then it displays our form. Okay, thank you for watching. Okay, please like this video, comment in the section if you have any questions, recommendations, anything you want to say. Comment it down in the comment section. Subscribe to this channel. We're going to be giving you more of this coming from CapacityBay. All right, and we communicate, collaborate, and create. Thank you very much. Have a nice